picture of Laura. I don't know if you saw the first video, but here we go. I'm just going to do a second one. So I just wanted to show you first the original picture, because I've already done some editing on it. So here's her face on the original picture. The only thing I've done is her face, and I'm just pushing Control Plus. I used a program called, wait for it, no, I didn't use Face Filter. I used Portrait Pro Studio 15 for this. You can just get the studio version, which is cheaper, but I can't open smaller files on that, so since I like to edit in TIFF to keep as much detail as possible, I decided to purchase the studio version. I do recommend getting the studio version first, just the original version, and then upgrading because it's cheaper, because they often send you like a 20% off link if you upgrade, so it's cheaper to do it that way. So as you can see, I've just added some mascara on there, brightened her eyes, whitened her teeth. Basically not very much because she's already very pretty as she is. So what we're going to do is I'm just pushing Control minus, and this should be up by your numbers on your keyboard to zoom out. What we're going to do first is we're going to push Control and J, and that will bring us over here and give us a duplicate layer, because we don't really want to destroy the original, even though you can go up to the history here and go right back to when you opened it. I just like to keep a tab on what I've done so far, because if you push this here, it takes you back to the original, and if you push it again, it takes you back to the layer. So I'll show you in a little while what that looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our patch tool here. If you right click, it brings you with all these options. You want the patch tool. If it's obviously already on it, you just click the tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the little imperfections in the picture and take them to a place where it's more desirable. So I don't know how much you can see, but I have to tilt my screen to be able to see the imperfections in the picture. But basically, I didn't iron my backdrop, and though yes, you could have probably sorted that out with lighting, I didn't have time. I only had 2 hours to set up and take the pictures and take the stuff down again, so you might as well just say an hour and a half. Which isn't very long when you're a beginner in photography and you just want to do one of your close friends' little photo shoot for her maternity pictures. So anyway, I rented the space from a friend. While I could have had it for longer, could have had it all day if I wanted, they charge per hour for the room. I say they, my friend does, which is fair enough. She's got to make money as well, hasn't she? So that's all I charge. I charge this lovely lady here for the room use and all of this stuff afterwards, and taking the pictures while I'm there and everything is all free because it's a present. It is her baby shower gift. So I'm going to take pictures of the baby when it's born as well and put it all in a lovely album as my present. So I'm literally just selecting creases and moving them up to this area here because there aren't many up here. And if you can tell, this bottom bit here is a lot lighter than this bit up here, but if I move that bit up here, we've frozen. If I move that bit up here, oh gosh, it's frozen again. There we go. It doesn't actually take the lighting, it just takes the texture. Whereas when you use the clone tool, it does all kinds of funky business and messes up with your lighting, which you don't really want. I literally just want to change the texture of the background and smooth it out. What you might need to do also is push Control Plus and zoom in to get a bit closer and do some of the little creases, because if you get too close, I have just actually selected a little bit there, it does smudge out like that. So I'm pushing Control Z and undoing that. There is a little bit under here, and there may be some bits you don't need it to be perfect because we are actually going to completely change the background in a while. There could be easier ways to do this. I am an absolute beginner and I'm self-taught, so this is just kind of how I figured out how to do this kind of thing. Right, I'm happy with that. What we're going to do now is we're going to push Control D to deselect that little bit there. You can also do that up here in the selections menu. We are going to leave the background for a moment and we'll come back to it. You'll see why in a moment. So if I just push the little eye here, you can see what the background looked like before and what it looks like now. So it's just got rid of some of those creases that you could see. So now we are going to go to Filter and we are going to go to Liquify, and this is to change and move around some bits on the picture that may not be as desirable as this lady might like. And also I really want to accentuate her baby bump, and from the angle that I've got her at here, I haven't done a very good job at it. I've never taken portrait pictures. I did baby bump pictures for my stepsister, and that was my first ever time on doing that. So, you know, I've never taken portrait pictures, so I take pictures of babies because they don't move and I can pose them myself. I don't feel comfortable walking up to a lady and saying, put this here, move this hair. I just, yeah, it's out of my comfort zone. But for friends, you know, I'll do it. So what we've got here is we've got three tools we're going to use. We're going to use the forward warp tool, we're going to use the pucker tool, and we're going to use the bloat tool. So I'm going to start with the pucker tool. So this brings everything in. If you run your fingers along your keyboard up to the letter P, next to the P you have two brackets, hopefully you do. And if you push the left hand bracket, it makes your brush smaller, and if you push the right hand bracket, it makes your brush bigger. So I'm going to have it sort of relatively big, and as you can see, it's just bringing that all in. I'm not a massive fan of this because it distorts everything in that circle and it makes things a bit lumpy bumpy. So I usually have a bit of a go with that, and then I go on to the push tool or the forward warp tool. One thing I do is I just make that a little bit bigger, and I just bring the shoulders down a bit on pretty much everybody because I just think it makes them look a little bit taller, and it just brings out their face a bit more. Right, so I'm going to go to our warp tool, and that's nice and small, isn't it? Right, so now I'm just going to push. You don't want to push from here, you want to push from the outside because you're pushing the white into her arm. You might see that this starts happening, but don't worry about that because it just fixes itself when you click OK. So I'm just bringing that all in. I find this a bit smoother than using the pucker tool. Right, so I've brought her arm into sort of where I want it now. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make this bump look a bit more bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guess that her bottom is around here. And because of the angle I've got her, you can't really see that her back's going in. So I'm going to just bring this in here, which should sort of make it look like this bump is bigger. You can go too crazy with this, so try not to, because I'm not really sure how, and if someone knows how, please tell me. If I push Ctrl Z, it only goes back once. So if you've done a mistake and you've carried on and you've only just noticed that you've made something look a bit weird, you can't go back unless you push cancel, which sucks. So, I mean, you might be able to, but I can't figure it out. So I'm sure if I went on YouTube, someone would be able to tell me. I'm not happy with that arm, so I'm just sort of bringing that. It's more about the top and that line down the middle. Yeah, so I'm also going to just bring in her legs a little bit. I'm going to push in this little crease here, and then I'm going to bring that back out again. Now you need to be careful because obviously you're going to move her fingers here. and you don't want to do that. So wherever this X is kind of where you want to move. I'm going to zoom in now. I'm going to go down to sort of have a little play around here. I'm going to make my brush smaller and just sort of bring this so it's just a bit more streamlined. And, here we go. Little tiny movements is what it's all about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down. So originally this top that she was wearing was a floaty top, and it came all the way down, and it was a lovely top, but it did nothing to show her bump. So what we did is we got a clamp, which I use. I'm just going to bring her knee out here as well, so that it's not such a harsh bend. What we did is we got a clamp, and we clamped the back of her top around. That's why it's all creased. To go around her bump a bit more. When you zoom out, you might still see that there's bits that you're not happy with, so you can just sort of play around with that. I'm going to now use the bloat tool. You can use this on her bump as well, as you can see, to make things a bit more rounded. I'm also going to use it on her bust. Who doesn't want bigger busts? Busts? Boobs? Breasts? I don't think busts is a word. No, it's just to bring a bit more shape around this top because it's a bit flat. Otherwise I probably wouldn't have done it, but it's literally just the top looks a bit naff at the top, doesn't it, really? And it's not straight either, so that's sort of a little bit of a bug. It's not straight. Anyway, so I'm going to zoom back in because I have also noticed, and all that pushing around, you can see that that's sort of messed up our top here and it looks a bit odd, but we can fix that with the patch tool afterwards. I'm going to fix her arm here because her other arm doesn't do that, so, which I'll show you in a moment once I've sort of, see, now I've just sort of warped her bracelet there, but hopefully that won't notice too much. I'm just kind of rushing along here. If you make the brush smaller, you can get right in there. And push the arm up. Bring that in a little bit as well. I'm going to zoom back out. Yeah, our other arm doesn't do that, so we don't really want that arm to do that either. I don't think there is anything else I would change on this picture, shape-wise. I'm quite happy with that now. So I'm going to click OK. And it will take me to the image, and you'll see this bit here is going to disappear. Ta-da! Gone. So if I push this little eye here, it shows you the shape that she was before. Well, it will do, but mine seems to have frozen. It's not going to show you. It is going to show you? It's going to show you. There we go. So there it is, the before and the after. So if you just concentrate on the bust area there, just the difference that's made to the shape of the top. I wish I could have done a bit more with this one. I should have done that really, but we'll leave it for a minute. And the arm here, and this bit of shape here, just how that makes a difference to this bit. I know we did this bit as well, so, and just her leg at the bottom, just a bit more pleasing, isn't it? And the shoulders, just bring out her face a little bit more. So now we're just going to go in and fix that on the top where we've messed it up. So we just get your patch tool, you select where you want, I think that's a nice bit of texture there, and take it over there. You can even get rid of some of these bubbles on her top. So it really is amazing what you can do. I mean, you could do way more than what I'm doing in Photoshop. I mean, I'm using proper basic tools here, but at the end of the day, we're all learning. So you want to make a living from this, you learn it more, don't you? But I just do it as a hobby. I like to see, I don't know, to me it's kind of like a little bit like artwork, that what you're doing, you know, what you can create and change, and I don't know, I've got the eye for photography, but I'm not great at it at the moment. I haven't got all the fancy lenses because I just can't afford it. I just cannot afford it right now. Saving for a wedding. So anyone who's gotten married, getting married, can absolutely sympathise with the fact that weddings cost a lot of money. So no, I can't buy £1,000 lens that I really, really want. Right, okay, so let's zoom out and see how that looks. Let's push Control D and get rid of that. And that still looks a bit funky to me, so let's just move that. Something there isn't really happy. I'm not happy with that. Right, okay, we're going to go down and just check the bump is okay. So here, these two lines, that's where the elastic of her leggings is. I'm not going to take it into the shadow because if you do that, it brings the shadow out and makes it all a bit weird. So what you're going to do is just going to get this bit here and we'll just bring that over there. Oh, no, I don't like that. So we'll go back and just change. Bring it down. There we go. Rather than over there. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. So let's just do our before and after again. Before, after. I might have gone overboard with the patchwork up here, so you might want to not do it as much as I did, like all the creases and stuff. It just looks a bit odd to me. There is a fine line between things looking a little bit fake. Right, so we're going to go to quick selection and we are going to highlight this lovely lady, and we're going to highlight her hand as well. I'm just literally holding the left click down and it's done it. It's selected all of her. If you find that it's started to select some areas over here, you can scale back by pushing Alt, or you can do the lasso tool here, and you can, if I hold it here, that's just the normal lasso. If I push Alt, it goes to a little minus, so I can take bits of this away. And if I want to add more, but it just keeps selecting bits out here, I can just draw from here around here to, and back in a loop, and it will select that whole bit and add it to it. So there are ways around it, because it can be really annoying when it's not so fine that as an edge that it starts selecting all crazy stuff. Right, so we're going to go to filter, and we are really not going to do that. We're going to go to select, and we're going to go to inverse. So now it's selected our background instead of the lovely lady in the middle. Now we're going to go to filter, and we're going to go to noise and reduce noise, and we're going to wait for that to load. I have Windows 7 and this laptop is really old, so I've got a few things open and it's working really hard. So sorry, it's a bit slow. Okay, so it's not going to change anything on her, it's just going to get rid of the noise in the background. We're going to whack the strength up to 7, we're going to preserve no details, we're going to be really harsh, we're not even going to sharpen it, we're just going to get rid of everything in that background bit because it's just plain white anyway. And we're going to wait for that to load. Come on, you can do it. Right, and now we're going to go to filter again, and we're going to go to filter gallery. And you can have a look through all the different effects here. I'm going to go for texturizer. When you click that, it usually automatically goes to canvas. I don't want to use canvas because for me, I can see a bit of a continuous pattern there. There's a bit of a line there, and pretty much all over the picture you can see where it's sort of joined. Whereas with the sandstone, it's flush. I can't see any continuous pattern. So I'm going to go for that. I'm going to push OK. And if I zoom in, I need to learn the hand thing where you can just drag across. Anyway, you can see here it's given us that sandstone effect on our background. It's a little bit too obvious for me, so what I might also do is go to blur, and we'll just try blur more. And it just softens that a little bit and it doesn't look so in your face. So if we zoom out and we push Control D to deselect our picture, and you can see it's not really cut into her. It looks fine. It doesn't look like it's not normal. And then you got your before and your after, and you can pretty much finish it off there really. The only thing I would probably do myself is maybe just select her. So we've got our lasso tool. We're going to just go around her. We don't want to select her hair or her face. Whoa, okay, let's try that again. I'm going to go around her body. You don't want too much of the white, but don't worry if you've got a little bit in there. Be better if you went slower. Like I said, we don't want her hair, we don't want her face, we just want her clothes. The reason also, I might not have mentioned this, the reason I didn't do this texturized background before I liquefied is because it's got a texture, and when we push all these bits, and it would have just distorted the background, so you're better off doing that after. But you want it to be clear so that it's easy to edit first, so kind of do that first bit of the patch tool, liquefy, then add your texture to the background. Right, so now we're going to go to filter, noise, reduce noise. So what we're going to do now is just sort of soften. Right, well you can see that's really far too much. So you're going to just bring that back a little bit, and you can preserve some details and sharpen it a little bit. So now if I hold down, you can see what it originally looked like, and now what it looks like. That's much better. It just sort of gets rid of a bit of noise on her clothes and softens her skin out a little bit. And now I would say we're pretty much finished with this picture. Control D. We want to flatten the image. Actually, I'll tell you what, we'll go back and we'll just take a look at how we changed that image and how simple that was. It didn't really take too long. I'm going to flatten the image. Now always save 2 copies. I always do. I never overwrite the original, so I go to save as and I wait for it to load, which takes absolutely ages when you've got all this stuff going on at the bottom. Okay, right. I save a TIFF copy. Excuse me. This is my finished editing, so I save a TIFF copy. We keep all those settings as they are, and then I'm going to save a, let's try it again. Ooh, we don't want to close. Save as. I save a JPEG copy, so that I can send it straight away to her in an email, over a messenger. I can just send that to her and it's not an issue. But the TIFF copy is what I would print from. Keeps more detail. You can also keep the layers as well in the TIFF. Obviously, I don't really need to do that because I'm happy with that picture. And that is how you do what I just did. That's how you do sort of like the smoothing of the background, changing the shape of a person. I'm going to do a video on how to edit the face. I don't know how to do it on Photoshop. I have looked. It looks a bit detailed when I can just literally just do it on this thing that already does it for you. So we'll go on to that. Okay, so thank you very much for watching the video.